Hey, welcome back to Law Call. We're taking your questions live. Give us a call, 850-392-1544, or you can always email us your question at lawcall@wmbb.com. We actually have an email question that came in right before we took our last break. I have an investment property. My neighbor's garage was on fire and burned down. My garage has been damaged from that. The fire department established that the fire started at the site. His insurance inspector was not interested in ours. We both have the same insurance company, and my damage is about $5,000, and my deductible is $5,000. Do I have to pay this? And I'm going to ask that, I'm going to go a little bit further, and I'm sure Mike's going to be, why do I have to pay this, Les?
Right. Well, you know, an insurance policy is a contract, okay? And like most homeowners policies, there are deductibles, and a deductible is an amount of money that you agree to pay up front before any insurance money is paid. Deductibles can range. If you looked at, if you had a hurricane claim after Hurricane Michael, you probably either had a set dollar amount or you had a percentage of your dwelling coverage. Usually it's anywhere from 1 to 3. I've seen them as high as 10%. So if you had a $150,000 home and a 3%, gosh, I got to do math now. What's that? $4,500?
Come on, man.
I think, is that right?
Man. Come on, man. I know
That's
it's
right.
late. Yeah.
$4,500.
It's late.
There's a reason I'm a lawyer. Okay. So you'd have $4,500 deductible if it was a hurricane claim if you had a 3% deductible on a $150,000 dwelling. All right. So in this case, you've got a $5,000 deductible. Now, if your damages are $5,000 and your deductible is $5,000, by contract, you have to pay that money because that is the amount of money that you agreed, that you contracted with the insurance company to pay for that. Now, one thing I would caution you about before you just go and say, oh, shucks, I got to go pay this money, you're entitled to have your own independent person come out there and take a look at it. You know, the adjuster that was hired to go investigate the loss for your neighbor, he's from the same company that it also insures you. So, you know, they know they're going to be responsible for it, but you're still entitled to have your own, you know, have an attorney go out there and look at it. We've worked with people, we've worked with fire inspectors. We know people that, I've got a buddy of mine who's a retired fire marshal over in Tallahassee that I've had some fire cases that we say, hey man, go out and take a look at this and tell me what you think. You know, sometimes the damage is limited to within your deductible, but sometimes there's other damages that you might not realize are there without a thorough inspection. So before you just bite the bullet and pay for the damages yourself, have somebody take a look at it for you. You might end up, you know, getting some money back.
Well, that's the other thing is, don't forget, you have a claim against the person's homeowner's policy, your neighbor's policy that was right next to you. So you may only be out this money in the short term.
Right, if you're running it through your own policy.
If you're only running it through your own policy.
Right, yeah.
Moral of the story is it can get very complicated, and you start trying to find all these experts to go out and not represent you, but I guess stand up for you like an adjuster would, not really an attorney, and give you a professional opinion about what your damages actually are. You're going to actually have to pay them as well.
Yeah, I should have been more clear about that. If you're filing it under your own policy, you have that deductible. But if you're filing it under your neighbor's policy against them,
You're making a claim against
you're making a claim. You're making a claim against your neighbor. So you know you'll have to figure that out. Sometimes that might be a good idea or a bad idea. We just don't know. I mean, it's
$5,000, $5,000.
I know. That's right. That's right. So
but you would think the neighbor would understand as well.
But if you're going against somebody else, you don't. Even though it's the same company, you still are not bound by that deductible when you're making a claim against somebody else's policy.